Have you ever felt like you're just running on empty? Like all the things you used to get a kick out of have lost their shine? Well, the reason why might be a lot closer than you think. In fact, you're probably holding it in your hand right now. All right, let's get into it. Seriously, think about it for a second. That hobby you were so excited about now feels like a total chore. Hitting the gym, which used to be your big stress reliever, now feels like climbing Mount Everest. Look, you're not lazy and you are definitely not alone in this. Something else is going on under the hood. Yep, that's right. The very device we turn to for fun and for connection might actually be rewiring our brain's entire motivation system. And we're going to unpack exactly how that happens, with some really fascinating insights from neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman. So this brings us to what you could call the motivation paradox. How is it that something so packed with entertainment and fun can actually make the rest of our lives feel kind of bland? It's a huge question, and it really gets to the heart of our relationship with our tech. And listen, this goes way deeper than just having a short attention span. We are talking about a fundamental chemical shift inside our own brains. The crazy part is that our phone isn't just a distraction from our lack of motivation, it might be the very thing that's causing it. To really get what's going on, we've got to talk about one single, super powerful molecule, dopamine. And even more important, we need to understand the two numbers that basically control your drive in life, the peaks and the baseline. Okay, so first things first, let's bust a myth. So many people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's not. It's really the motivation chemical. Think of it this way. Pleasure is the finish line, but dopamine is the fuel in the tank that gets you excited to even start the race. It's that get up and go feeling. So you've really got two different states here. First, there's the peak. That's that intense, super fast rush you get from a funny text, a bunch of likes on social media, or beating a level in a game. Then you have your baseline, and that's just your average day-to-day level of motivation and enthusiasm for life. And this, right here, is the absolute key. It's a trade-off. Think of it like a seesaw. When you get a massive artificial spike of dopamine, a really high peak, your baseline has to come crashing down below where it even started just to balance things out. And that's exactly where the trouble begins. Now, we actually make this problem way worse with something called dopamine layering. What we do is we take an activity that's already pretty rewarding, like going for a run, and then we just stack other dopamine hits on top. We put on a podcast, we're texting people between sets. We do it without even thinking, just trying to squeeze every last drop of pleasure out of the moment. But all we're really doing is setting ourselves up for a huge motivation crash later. Now, I know this all might sound a little abstract, so let's make it real. Let's look at a personal story from the neuroscientist who studies this stuff for a living, Dr. Andrew Huberman, because he didn't just discover this phenomenon in a lab. He actually lived through it himself. He had this moment where he realized that his lifelong passion for working out was just fading away. And what was the culprit? He'd been accidentally sabotaging his own motivation by layering way too much stimulation on top of his gym sessions. So here's what happened. He's a guy who always loved to train, but then he started bringing his phone to the gym. First it was music, then podcasts, then checking texts, and pretty soon the workout itself just felt blah. By adding all these outside rewards, he was slowly killing the internal, the intrinsic satisfaction he used to get from the activity itself. This is that seesaw effect in action perfectly. His motivation baseline had dropped so low that the workout alone wasn't cutting it anymore. His brain had been retrained, and now it was demanding all that extra stimulation just to feel the same amount of reward he used to get for free. I mean, just look at the difference here. When you bring your phone into the mix, you get that giant artificial peak, but it's followed by a crash that leaves you feeling less motivated than when you started. But without the phone, you get a healthier, more moderate peak, and your baseline stays nice and stable, ready for whatever's next. And if all that wasn't enough, our phones have another sneaky psychological trick they use on us. It's called the casino effect. The technical term is intermittent reinforcement, and it's the exact same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. You never know when the next reward is coming. A notification, a text, a piece of news, so you just keep pulling the lever. You keep checking your phone, hoping for that next little hit. Okay, so that's the problem, and yeah, it can sound pretty bleak, but here's the really good news. You are not powerless in this. You can absolutely reset your dopamine system. You can take back the controls of your motivation. Let's talk about how. So how do we actually break out of this cycle of constantly chasing these huge peaks, only to have our motivation baseline crash and burn? Well, the solution is surprisingly simple, which doesn't mean it's easy. This is it. This is the whole game. You have to consciously unstack all those layers of stimulation. The goal, the entire mission, is to let an activity, whether it's working out, reading a book, or just taking a walk, be its own reward without any digital add-ons. So here's the playbook. Pick one thing, just one activity. And when you do it, the phone goes away. No music, no podcasts, no texting. And you have to remember that initial feeling of boredom or difficulty, that's actually a good sign. It means your brain is rewiring itself. It means you're winning. And this is exactly the journey Dr. Huberman went on. He committed to it, phone-free workouts. And he's real about it. That first week was a total grind. His brain was basically throwing a tantrum, screaming for those cheap, easy dopamine hits it had gotten so used to. But look at the result. After he pushed through that tough part, he didn't just get the enjoyment back. It was even better than before. He felt a sense of accomplishment, like he'd conquered something. And that is the real prize here. It's not just about enjoying things again. It's about that deep, incredible satisfaction you get from mastering your own mind. So here's your new toolkit for protecting your own motivation. Rule number 1, let one thing be one thing. Stop trying to make every single moment a dopamine party. And rule number 2 is the most important. Protect your baseline. Treat your day-to-day drive like the precious, finite resource it truly is. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. So I'll just ask you one final question to think about. What is one activity, just one, that you can reclaim from your phone this week? Maybe it's your morning coffee, a walk around the block, or your time at the gym. The choice is yours, and making it might just be the first step to getting your motivation back for good.